Mental Training 101. And now back to Get Warrior Tough with Andrew and Dutch.
All right, final segment of the most monumental hour in Media Anywhere. Dutch and Andrew and Dutch back in the saddle. All right, we're talking about this Uber stuff and how they're psychologically pulling the levers to get the drivers to do more work for less pay. Another of their tactics, Dutch, was income targeting. So they figured they would even have the drivers put in how much they wanted to make. And what would happen is they would say they wanted to make $100 a day. Now, cab drivers do this too, right? But they have to manually go, I'm going for it. But this thing would tell them, right, hey, you're at $98, or, you didn't make your target yet. Or they would say, if this is dirty right here, right? Because they originally would say if you took one more drive, you would make an extra $15 or whatever. But now what they do is they use loss aversion. They would say if you don't drive the next 3 drives or stay on the clock this amount of time, you'll lose this much money. So it's a guesstimation of how much you'll lose, but it'll flash up on your screen how much money you're losing by not doing. But the reason they do this is because, okay, Uber wants more drivers on the road so they can have less price. There's more drivers, so it costs less per passenger and less time to wait. Uber drivers want less drivers on the road so that they get paid more for each ride. Does that make sense? So what they're trying to do is keep all the drivers on the road to keep the prices down and cut out the cabbies.
Right. So if it's more, so Uber wants they don't want necessarily you on the road. They want everybody on the road.
Yes, everybody.
So they're not trying to help you. They're trying to help themselves once again.
Which is fine. I mean, I get it. They're in business, but and we talk about this in our seminar, right? That most of the population, the reason they're doing it is because 95% of the population avoids pain and loss. So it's called a loss aversion bias. So they don't, only 5% approach pleasure. So when they started, they were like, look, how much money you could make. Now people are like, whatever. But if you say you're going to lose this much money if you don't stay on the road, well, nobody wants to lose money.
I think they should double down and say and get more detailed and become more targeted, right? I think they should have the drivers put in like personal information, like, if they have a wife and if they have kids and the ages of their kids,
that's coming,
right?
Dude. That's coming. That's wait. So here's what they're doing now. This is the next upgrade, is that they put in, and you could put in and say, if you need to pick up your kids at soccer practice at 6 p.m. when you come on the shift, if you put that in, it will give you trips and take you in the general direction of that place and time. So it sounds it's convenient for you, but what you're doing is giving them more ammunition and more data points to manipulate you with their machine-learned algorithms.
See, I think they should put the stuff about your kids and ages and stuff, because when you refuse to stay out there, then it shows your kids crying because they don't have diapers. Right, they don't have any more diapers, and
I don't have
wipes.
Any shoes, dude. I use that line.
Show your kid just caught pneumonia. Like that'll be like the badge. Dude, your kid has pneumonia because you didn't get him socks.
When I was a rookie at Capitol Police, I was my base salary was $32,000. We moved to DC, and I got the 2 kids at home, and I'm working as much overtime as I can just to make the ends meet, right? I'm working as much overtime. And so everybody's fighting over this overtime. It was before 9/11, so there wasn't that much overtime. So I'm begging to get on the Clinton impeachment trial so I could stand post over there during the impeachment thing. And I'm a rookie, right? And my sergeant's like, no, you don't have seniority. And I'm like, that's great, Sarge. I'll go home and tell the 2 kids why they can't get any shoes or bottles or diapers because you said that I wasn't senior enough to get the post. Well, I did get the post, but I used that exact thing, man.
Yeah. Again, you got to find out how to use it to your advantage.
Diabolical.
I ain't mad at you.
I acted it out. I'm sorry, guys. There's no shoes or milk or anything because Sergeant so-and-so said that I wasn't senior enough to work extra. Yeah.
You got to show pictures of Sergeant so-and-so.
Yeah. But that's where they're going. They're trying to get them to put in more things, more data points in there so they can say, so then they could suggest, hey, so this is how it'll work. You're not even planning on driving, but they know that you always pick up the kids at soccer. The app comes on, boom. Hey, while you're picking up the kids on your way, you could do this ride. If you don't, you'll lose so much money towards your income target. I know you're going to be there already.
And your kids are starved. I really think they need to put those badges on there.
They probably would next.
I'm going to contact them.
So what they're trying to do is to get them to work an extra 30 minutes, an extra 60 minutes, and they make it hard to escape the obligation of staying on the road to avoid these surge, these peak periods where the prices surge. And they don't want that, because then, it becomes more economical to get a cab, and I'm not waiting as long. And so their whole model is disrupting that and driving the price down, taking more money off the table. That's less for the drivers, because they're going to get listen, Uber's getting their piece.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And again, I what they say, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, I do. I'm not sure I like this game. So I probably would not be in the gig economy, but they said this is going to be this is the future, because it's going to be tens of millions of workers. And it's not just for Uber, driving people around, but delivering food and retail goods and all this stuff that drones will eventually be doing. And listen, Uber, they make no bones. They're trying to get self-driving cars. So drivers, they're using you. They're going to throw you away as soon as they can just go to self-driving cars, because they don't have to manipulate the self-driving cars. They just program them and say, go get them.
Well, we're getting our people, anyone associated with GetWarriorTough.com, ready for this new economy, and we're going to benefit from it, and we're going to move forward, and we're going to love it. So if you're down with GetWarriorTough.com, you're down with Andrew and I, you have nothing to be afraid of, because we're going to have you ready to go, geared up and ready to go to participate in this economy fully at your advantage, your game.
Absolutely, 100%, Dutch. And that's the thing. And this is where it's going. It's really that, and we see articles like this quite often, that the middle class is shrinking. So what I'm telling you right now, you already know that the middle class is shrinking. The rich are getting richer, and the gap is getting wider between the rich folks and everybody else. Now you got to decide where you're going to be.
And again, I always got to say this. I always wanted to be clear, because you do have these people in society that are on one side or the other. We're not hating the rich.
No, I'm trying to get up to that level.
We're trying to get up to that level.
I want to take as many of you with me. And that's the choice. Do you want to stay on the bottom end of this gap? The only way you could get out of this is over the top. You got to go through it and over the top. You got to get to the next level. And my question is, I was asking one of my corporate clients, he's a COO this week. He already knew the answer of what he needed to do. And I said, okay, so how long? Here's the question. How long before you do? So you know what you need to do. You're listening to my voice. You know to just maintain the status quo is not getting it done. You're like the guy with the payday loan. You might not be as bad off as that guy, but you know you're not moving forward. Mm-hmm. So how long are you going to let that go before you do what you need to do to take action, to move yourself from this sinking ship onto the top of the glacier? How long is it? Yep. 5 years? Is it going to be 10 years? If you wait 10 years, it's too late. It bypassed you. You're going to be running Amazon orders on the back of a wiki cart.
Fact.
I mean, I don't, or you could just, be delusional and think none of this stuff is happening. And that's why I tell you, Dutch, I wasn't sure how I felt about this thing before we got through it, but this is real. What we just said is happening. It's going to happen more. And unless you want to be part of the, the tens of millions in the gig economy, working like crazy to just barely make it. Because if you're in manufacturing, there's so many jobs that's going to be taken over by robots anyway, man. It's just happening. So what are you going to do?
Yep.
Just keep blowing this off?
And you remember years and years ago when this was just like a scary story? You remember
like it was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie or something.
Yeah, it really was a scary story, because there were these things about robots doing all this stuff, and the truth be told, when I was a kid, it was supposed to already have happened by now, right?
Yeah.
So when it hadn't already happened by the time I was, say, 25, 30, you're like, they were just exaggerating. They were worried about but now we see it coming. We can actually see it in front of us.
Yeah.
Even 20 years ago, it was like, they miscalculated. It's not gonna, that stuff's not gonna happen. 20 years later,
yeah, no,
you see it happening.
Yeah, it's on top of us.
Absolutely.
Now, it's going to take. Listen, because what the machines don't do yet, I'm not sure how long this will be, but they don't have emotional intelligence and empathy. Uh-huh. right, yet. And they don't solve people's problems. Have you ever gotten one of these, AIs on the chat bot or, answering on the phone and they just can't solve your problem because there's not a person there to make that decision? It's outside the program. So we still need people. What you got to decide, are you going to be problem-oriented or are you going to be a solution-oriented person? If you're a solution-oriented, engaged worker, that you'll always have a position somewhere in the economy.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just a drone who is disengaged, maybe actively disengaged, and just complaining and being problem-oriented, you're going to end up one of these, in the gig economy.
So that's the key. What you just said. I know we only got a minute and a half left. This has flown by, but that's the key right there. Is being prepared, learning the system, understanding what's going on around you, what's being done to you, and then finding out how it helps you, and then finding your place in the system.
Yeah, you got to figure out how can I use this to my advantage. And we have clients that are doing it every day because we walk them down the psychological path to go find because your genius brain will find the answer for you. I don't know what the answer is. Dutch doesn't know what the answer is for you, but what we do know is how to walk you down the path so you could find that answer. If you don't know the answer, you need to get in touch with us because we will walk you down the path and you will discover the answer. You might not like it, but you're going to get the answer. I know people don't like that. They don't want to do the work, man. They don't want to have the hard, honest assessment of saying, I might have to change what I'm doing if I want to get different results. But if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you expect to get different results, what do we call that, Dutch?
Insanity.
Insanity. Holy smokes. We're out of time, man.
Yes.
I got to tell you, this show went super fast. I wasn't sure about it. I'd love to hear from the listeners. And you and I need to talk about this some more offline because you're going to have to, kind of help me a little bit with it because I struggle with this part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all good.
It is. It's good. It's all good.
It's so good to see you, buddy. Hey.
And I'm going to see you soon.
Yeah,
I'm going to see you soon. We're going to be in DC together.
DC together. Then we got Tallahassee. We got, all kind of good stuff coming up. That's awesome. Yep. What up?